It's a huge honor for me to have Rajvatan Singh on the podcast today. He's actually listed as one of the top 100 Punjabi influencers in the world, so it's a massive blessing to have him on the show. I've known him for a long time, seen him grow up. I remember when he used to do Thai boxing and fight, so that was going back some time. And then seeing him grow over social media has been beautiful as well. And I'm very happy for all of his success and everything that's coming to him, which is well deserved. You've asked some great questions, but before we get into those, if you can please smash the like button, subscribe, comment. It helps this video get out to more people so we can make sure that other people can benefit from this content as well. So thank you for that in advance. So Raj, congratulations first of all, like you smashed it. There's not that many up in your space, right?
Well, Sashika Jitharanu, everyone listening.
Sashika.
And thank you, Paji, for actually having me on the show because, I mean, yeah, as you've said already, that you've seen me grow up, and I've actually like looked up to you and yourself and your peers and everyone that you guys have been role models for us, and we're just trying to follow on the same path, to be honest, to be as good of humans in society, or as good of an example as a Sikh person. So yeah, no, thank you for having me on the show, and thank you for the introduction as well. It's really kind of you.
And in terms of with modelling, how did you get into that?
So it was something that came by chance when I was in university, and it was around my second year of university where I got involved in one of the projects, and from there it just sort of like I carried on doing projects here and there whenever I could. Because as a student, you've got a lot of free time on your hands as well while studying. So I just thought this is something that I could just do for myself to keep myself busy, and it was quite fun as well. So yeah, from there it started off, and then I think around 2017, I took it very I took it a bit further. I took it a bit more seriously. This time around 2017 summer, I went India and I did a professional shoot there as well. And then after that, I just met really nice people in the industry over here, starting with the Asian industry, and from there on it just went on to doing like Asian wedding shows, Indian Fashion Week, and working with designers, so Asian designers, and doing shoots for them, working with a lot of photographers in the Asian industry. Then it just carried on going into the music field as well, and music video shoots and stuff. So yeah, that's how it all started. And
how, if there's somebody who wants to get into that, how would you recommend the best kind of route, or is there no defined route? You just make your own route?
I think you kind of said it as well. Like it's about making a route for yourself. There's no particular guidance anyone can give, because for everyone and anyone it works differently. And what matters a lot at the end of it is your own attitude and your own outlook on things. You can't depend on anyone else but yourself. So independency is definitely the key, but at the same time, it's about, like I said already, it's about your outlook and your attitude. So one thing I always say to some of the guys I've come across who've talked about modelling and stuff is to not expect much, have least amount of expectations, but work the hardest. That's what all I'll say, because work ethic is something I prioritize a lot in terms of whether if it's not just in the fashion like sort of line, but any work you do, your work ethic has to be really high, and it needs to be obviously smart at the same time as well. Like making sure that you're keeping up with what's going on when it comes to modelling itself, like in terms of your style, in terms of what's happening in fashion industry, keeping up with that, and eventually finding your own niche where you fit in. So and just just going 100 with that.
So I remember when you started out, you have this massive following now. But when you started out, did you have any self-doubt, thinking, am I really gonna be able to do this, or were you quite confident that if you put in the hard work, the results will come?
The way I saw it is, or the way I see the question is as well, like I think instead of self-doubt, I perceived it as something it was like a daily conversation I would have with myself. Not from a self-doubt point of view, but from from a critical thinking point of view. Like, if I'm doing this, what am I going to gain? What am I going to lose? Am I going to be able to, like, is this going to take me further into this, or is it going to take me further into another prospect? So, in that sense, I think as humans, we always talk within ourselves. We talk in our brain. We always speak into ourselves. So that's something that's there as a nature. But in terms of me thinking about myself, whether if I can go further into fashion industry and modeling, yeah, I mean, I spoke to myself a lot about it. Like, where am I going? Am I going to be able to go further into this? How sustainable would it be? Am I going to get a good response for the work I'm doing? In that sense, yeah, I always talk to myself. But I think what helped me sort of still go with it or still carry on doing what I'm doing is it's just this pride of wearing the pride of wearing pride of being Punjabi and a Sikh. So because like representation is obviously the key, but at the same time it's representing myself as a Sikh person is different as well. So like it's, for me, I always saw it as like as much as I'm showing my identity as an individual, but I'm also carrying the community forward. That's how I saw it, and because of that, it boosted me. It gave me like this halla shiri is what they say in Punjabi, you know, like to go forward and ace it. So yeah,
amazing. And did you have any personal challenges, because you have a distinct image, right? You have, as you said, Punjabi and Sikh heritage. So you have the star, you have your Gir Sardari, which is, you know, a while ago there wasn't, I don't know of anybody in the modeling industry or in the fashion industry who had a Sikh image. So, like, did you ever have any doubts, thinking, oh well, you know, I have a beard, this is associated, has potential negative associations? People think of, especially in some countries, they think of like terrorism or that kind of stuff associated with image, or was it the opposite? Was it pride that I'm going to be able to be the first to represent my community on an international stage?
I think I would use Wallace Alawadi as an example, because he was one of the first Sikh personality I came across who did mainstream modeling. That's from what I can remember. And seeing someone like him, and even like Jatinder Bhaji, he's done a lot of work as well in modeling. So seeing them two, before even I even got into modeling, like, for me it was like, wow, okay, so what they've just done is made it doable for a lot of people. Now I remember exactly how Wallace Alawadi's GAP campaign was taken by some of the people in terms of criticism. Now, seeing that, but then his attitude showed, now I don't know obviously what internal battles he went through, but the point is that like he still carried on. So when I got into the field, I knew that there's no going back now. If I'm going to do this, I need to keep going. If I'm going to stop, I'll stop for my own reasons, if I have my personal reasons, but I'm not going to let anyone else's words or criticisms or these tags, you know, stop me from doing what I'm doing. So in that sense, I think I see myself as a very strong-headed person, but it's just not about myself. I think it's a lot of the people I've met. I've just met a lot of kind people. They've been very appreciative, and the industry is obviously becoming more diverse as well now. They've become a lot more welcoming, and it's because of that. I think it's a bit of both. It's myself as well, in terms of the way I see it, in terms of the way my outlook is to things. But also the industry itself. Industry is becoming very, very, like, you know, warm. They're very warm towards ethnic minority background people. So it's nice.
Have you heard that quote? First they'll laugh at you, and then they'll ask you how you did it. You know, they'll ask you for advice. They talk about that in reference to like weight loss usually in training.
Yeah,
I feel like
that quote, right? That quote is, in itself, it's like it's a big lesson. It's a big lesson. It's just that quote speaks volume in terms of like, trust yourself, trust what you're doing, trust your instincts, and you'll make it. Yeah. That's how I see that quote, or that's how it comes in my ears.
Yeah. I think there's a lot to be said for intuition. Einstein had this quote that intuition is the highest form of intelligence. And I think we can become numb to our intuition and try and fit a mold of what other people think we should be doing, or what other people's perception is of us, as opposed to really following the voice inside, which you've done, which is commendable. So you had questions. We had questions regarding because my beard is unruly, right? I always have this thing where these things I just can't seem to tame them. So people want to know what your beard care routine is, because it's very trendy right now. So you obviously got it down.
I mean, I don't do much. I've just always applied like beeswax beard balms. They've been really helpful in terms of keeping the beard and the hair, sort of nourished. And a lot of good use of beard oils as well. You have to always. I think it took a lot of experiments and stuff for me to sort of come around the fact that this is the one that works for me. This doesn't. But the key to maintain the beard or having it the way it is right now, I think is the brush. It's every day I brush it with cold water. Always brush it. Just always brush it, because that's what keeps it pretty much intact, the way it looks. But everyone's beard is different. I can't really recommend someone my routine, because I think even if they do try doing it, it might come out different. It might work different. It's just that skincare routine. Everyone's skin is different. In the same sense, beards are different as well. So, and that's what people don't really understand. When I try to say the fact that this works for me, I'm not sure if it's going to work for you. But they're just well, it's just a beard. I'm no. It's like our skins, skins are different, beards are different too in that sense.
We need to get you to make a YouTube video on beards, and also one on your style.
I know, I do get a lot of, one day, they do ask, do beard care routine if you can, bag routine as well, and stuff like that. So, but I just, I've been a bit lazy, I can say, and busy at the same time.
Yeah, you've got a lot going on.
But I'll definitely come around it.
Yeah, definitely. If you need someone to film it, I'll be happy to hold the camera.
Thank you.
But I think it is important, because I was on one now, right? And the way my mum brought me up was your appearance is very important. So you need to be presentable, you need to be well groomed, you need to be clean, all of that kind of stuff. And then when I grew my kids, I didn't really know how to manage it or how to tame it. So when you say cold water, how do you mean brush with cold water? Is that
So you put cold water onto the brush, you get you get your hat gille with cold water, and just splash it onto the beard brush, and then you literally just use it, and then it's like you not press it, but you just groom it,
massage it.
And then that's how I do it.
Do you so the kind of the beard brush, the one that has these kind of white, a bit like a broom type thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I got one of those.
You can get that. Yeah. So I use that, and one of my friends, Viraj, he's got his own company, Jodhpur company, and I've recently, got this Captain Fawcett beard balm. With the Jodhpuri, Jodhpur company, they collabed. So I've been using that, and that's good as well, really, really nice. And the oil as well is really nice as well. So I've been using these things to maintain it nicely.
I will ask you for all of that info, and I'll put it in the description box. So if anyone wants to know any tips and advice, they can look at their different products and support those companies as well. My skin, I know the question wasn't about skin, but this is actually my question. So whenever I go training, my skin tends to react to sweat. So I get this breakout from sweating, which is really annoying because training is my life. So do you have any advice in terms of skincare?
Skincare, so the way I do, it's two different ones, one for morning, one for evening. And it's actually my missus who kind of introduced me to this whole thing. Before that, my skincare routine wasn't that great. But my missus helped me understand the importance of it. And so some of the products, in terms, like I said earlier, there's 2 times when I do it. So one when I wake up before getting work, and once just before you go to bed. I'll start again. So I'll start with gel wash. So first I've obviously washed my face with cold water, dried it a bit, then gel wash. After applying gel wash properly around the skin, then I wash it with a bit of like warm water, and then dry up again. After drying it up, then I use it's like a toner, I would say. It's like this toner thing that you get. It's like a soothing lotion. That's what I use. And after using that, so like you every time you apply something, you need to apply it to the point when your skin gets a bit dry, because you can't leave it. You can't leave any moist on your face. You need to like make it dry a bit more, and then after doing that, depending on what time it is. So if it's in the morning, I use this. One of the company's Ordinary, so I use the niacinamide, and just like a little drop of that, and apply on the skin again. After applying that, I use moisturizing cream from CeraVe, and after the moisturizing cream, I finish with SPF. The one we should use, the brown skin. This is something that's applicable for us, actually, for all of brown skin people. I feel it's the one that's it needs to be 50 plus the degree, 50 plus, and it's SPF, which is I don't even know the brand. I don't know how to.
That's fine. I'll add it all to the description box anyway. So anyone who's wants to follow that routine, I'm actually going to do it, because my face is. Anytime I need to do something for TV or something that's going to be recorded, I always have like a breakout of spots, and I look like a teenager, like I'm 16 or something, which is really embarrassing.
No, the thing is, like even with me as well, like this is what has finally started to work for me, because I've been doing it for a while. For some people, it works differently. So this is the morning one, and then at night time, it's normal to use these products, moisturizer and this one. The only thing that changes is obviously no SPF and no niacinamide. But instead of that, I use hyaluronic acid and organic cold press rose hip seed oil. So I use that as well at night time.
Okay, that's true.
So yeah, that's
if you sort my face out, I'll owe you. It just my kids will stop saying, "What happened to you? What is that on your face?"
ਭਾਈ ਨਹੀਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਸੋਹਣੇ ਹੋ ਨਾ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਕੀ ਠੀਕ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ any ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ.
With your Dastard, so how did you get that done? Is that just something you've always had down?
As in the Dastard in general?
It's really neat. How did you always have it?
Oh, okay, yeah, so the Dastard, before the type of the style, because there's different styles to the styles as well, different ways of tying pug. When I first started tying pug, it was more like Patiala Shai, with like clean lard on this side. And but now recently, so not recent, I'm saying recently, but by that I mean around at least it's been 4 years where I changed the style. This is called Vatani. So then on one side it's a bit like the layers are not clean. They're a bit rough-ish. On this side it's clean. So I usually it doesn't take me that long. But the way I tie it is like I do. Normally you do pony before tying the pug, but I usually do pony as I'm tying it. So I get the kapda. I don't make my pug gilly either. I don't splash water on it either. Only because like when you put water on it, it like presses it, and it condenses it a bit. But because I don't put water, it makes it the volume is bigger. So yeah, that's why. So then I do pony as I'm tying the pug, and yeah, it's 7.5 meters.
How long does it take you?
Not long. To 5 minutes.
That's brilliant. Roughly.
Yeah, 5 minutes roughly.
Okay.
It's because I've been used to like tying, because I started tying in year 9, around year 9, year 10. but I would never share the photos from them because the way I used to type up then, no chance. I'm not going to be sharing those pictures. But Holi, as I practiced more and more, it made it better. But then I eventually changed to just this style.
Yeah, I'll have to learn that from you as well. So I definitely need to up my style tying game as well. But what one piece of advice would you give to the tagline of the podcast is inspiring the next generation? So if you had to give one piece of advice to the next generation, what piece of advice would it be? This
is a good one, actually. I mean, the way I see it, the way I would put it to the new generation, just to find a motivation for yourself. Find that one thing that really inspires you. Always remember, always keep your roots in mind as well, where we've come from as a community, and where you've come from. If you want to make, if you could take this on a macro scale or micro scale. You can take it from a family point of view, you can take it from a community point of view, you can take it from a generation's point of view, totally up to you. But always remember where you've come from, always remember where you are, be thankful for where you are, and like I said earlier as well, just in life, expect the least but work hardest. That's what I'll say. It's amazing. And a few more questions. I wanted to ask about books. Are there any books that you recommend? Any come to mind as essential reading on any topic? Essential reading? I mean, from history point of view, I can go into quite a few books, but I think one which I always go on about is, I think, Percussions of History by Rajvatan Singh. That's one of the books I really, really liked when I read it. Another one I would recommend is, there's certain controversies around it, but I would suggest even Band Prakash as well, from historical point of view. And I'm actually reading this book right now. It's called the History of Sikh Missiles. It's by Dr. Bhagat Singh. That I'm reading right now. And then there's another book which I think is really, really good. It's by S.J.S. Pal, and it's called Sadi Shahidiyan Di. If you can read Punjabi, good, because I would recommend to learn your language if you can. But yeah, so it's in Punjabi, so it's called Sadi Shahidiyan Di. It's by S.J.S. Pal, and that's another book I would recommend. Okay, and lastly, you're not only doing fashion, but you're also a teacher, right? So you're kind of well balanced in the sense that I had a friend who really wanted to go into modelling, and she put all of her kind of eggs in that basket, and that didn't work out for her up until this point. It may do in the future, but you've managed to keep a balance with family life, your work, your passion. What's the importance of that? Like, trying to keep a balance, and also how did you manage it? Is that down to your parents? I think, I think like I would be lying if I said I balanced or I can balance well, because there's times when you can't. You end up prioritizing something more than the other, and it happens. It's if you consider that, you should, as an individual, I think we should all accept that. Like, there's not going to be a time where you'll be able to do it. When we say balance as well, I think we see it as like giving equal time, and it's hard to give equal amount of time. It's about what's important at that time. That's what requires your attention, I think, and that's what you should see it as. So, in terms of balancing, I feel when it comes to work, in terms of fashion and stuff, our family's been very supportive. I've not just got into it, not knowing how much commitment it would require. So, because of that, I've had to sacrifice a lot of family functions, family events, social meets with friends and stuff. So then I've prioritized work in that sense. But then at the same time, whenever possible, whenever I've had the chance, I've prioritized family, friends. Now obviously with marriage, this is something that also requires priority. I think more than anything at the moment, I would say, because being newlywed couple, like, you know, like there's a huge thing, you know, it's a next life stage, so that requires a lot of attention and priority. So and in terms of work as well, when you talk about obviously teaching and working in school, I think school staff has been amazing. They've been so supportive, and since the day I've joined school, along with the students as well, they've been very, very kind and supportive. So, you know, like any time there's any achievement or any representation I can sort of give for the school, I tend to do it, and school is very sort of kind about it, nice about it. And yeah, so like, as in, obviously, like, that's my day-to-day job. Whenever shoots are possible, in terms of my days off, I tend to take those jobs on, and that's it.
Amazing. And was that your own inclination, or was that down to your parents? And
teaching, I had decided that I want to go into around sixth form time. I always knew I wanted to go into going into academics was my sort of first dream before I even got into modelling, or even I'd never thought about modelling anyway at the time. So my inclination was to go into academics, whether if it's going into university teaching or high school teaching. So that was always there. I generally enjoyed subjects like history and sociology, and that's the reason why now I teach those two subjects. I'm also head of social sciences now in the school department, so I look over politics and psychology as well. And yeah, so it's been really nice, like I said, because of the people around me, and they've been I've been fortunate that, you know, they've given me the chances, or I'm receiving these chances in life in order to give my best in everything.
That's amazing. This has been a really inspiring chat. I really appreciate your time. I'm sure everyone else who's watching and listening to this is going to really appreciate it as well. So thank you. So where's the best place to connect with you? Where can we find out more about you?
Oh, sorry.
That's fine.
I missed the conversation. I missed the question. Sorry. Yeah. So the best way to connect with me through, I think, like social media. I think Instagram. There's Facebook page as well. So my Instagram is Rajvatan Singh _ and if there's any way in which you want to get in touch with me in terms of work, you can definitely contact either my management. So I'm with Super Model Management, and also I've got my own sort of team as well, and the email ID for that is manager@rajvatansingh.uk. So yeah, that's the way you can connect with me.